Let's start with white. Some of the staples.
Yeah. So some of the we're gonna kind of there's a lot. I mean just to preface this
So
as
we're gonna just try to key in
right,
on
right,
some of
right.
the.
I'm just saying that because there's gonna be a lot of people who probably email us or post in Twitch. You know what I mean? Hey, you missed this card and you missed this card, and we realize that, we understand that. We're sorry.
Yeah, we can't.
We love all of these cards that
Yeah,
are in
we
Magic,
love all the cards.
and there's not enough time to talk about all of them. So for the first one though is Avacyn Angel of Hope. I mean, she's been kind of riding the $30 to $50 range for a while. She's 3 white, 8 colorless. What is it? I can't.
8/8
Five.
for a
Five.
5
So-
5 and 3 white for an 8/8.
So 8 mana for an 8/8 flying vigilance chick that basically is indestructible. It makes all of your permanents indestructible, right?
So much for you just called her a chick.
Oh, sorry.
So
This
I was going to
gal.
say so much for
Angel.
gender equality.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I was raised in the 90s. Go figure. Blaming on the anyway.
Establishment.
Avacyn, yeah, establishment. Avacyn. So she's an 8/8, and she basically makes all of your things indestructible. So I mean, think about that. In a white deck, she's perfect because she just makes all your stuff indestructible, things like that. Oblation is another really, really, really good card. For 2 colorless and 1 white, it's instant speed, shuffle target permanent into its owner's library, and then they draw 2 cards. So let's say, for instance, if an opponent plays Avacyn and you don't have an exiling effect, maybe you could just shuffle it into their library and they draw 2 cards. That doesn't seem bad. Or if somebody targets one of your creatures or spells or one of your lands and you don't want them to blow it up, you can Oblation it and shuffle it back in, and then you get to draw 2 cards. So now you're getting extra value on top of protecting one of your things, you know. It's really, really rude to do to generals. There's cards like Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshare, which is a really good 1 white, removal spell. Path to Exile gives them a land and exiles it, and Swords to Plowshare gains them life instead. In EDH, when you have 40 life, life isn't nearly as critical or something to worry about as you normally think, because your life totals are pretty high. There's also Condemn, which tucks them too, and they gain their life equal to their power or their toughness. Things like Wrath of God, 4 mana, blow up all of the things, can't be regenerated, right? Hallowed Burial. Hallowed Burial is definitely one. For 5 mana, put all creatures on the bottom of their owner's libraries. It seems really good, especially against people who need to have their commander out to be able to win the game, and they have no way of being able to search up their library. This is a really jerky move to kind of do to your friends, and they'll hate you for it. One of the last few cards I want to talk about, though, is also Luminarch Ascension. I've gotten in a recent argument, actually, with a guy at my local shop about this card. And, I mean, for those of you who have played this, it's really, really good in multiplayer EDH, but in 1v1 it's terrible. So just take it out of your deck if you're playing 1v1. But 2 mana, 1 colorless, 1 white for an enchantment. At the beginning of each upkeep, if you did not lose life this turn, put a quest counter on it. Once you get 4 quest counters, it becomes active, and you can pay 1 white, 1 colorless to make a 4/4 white angel token with flying. Think about it. Turn 2 in EDH, nobody's really doing anything much anyway. Everybody's just playing lands and playing mana rocks. Play this.
you don't have to sacrifice it, do you?
Nope, you don't have to sacrifice it. It just stays. So let it go around 1 cycle, and now for 2 mana, the rest of the game, you could just make a 4/4 angel. It's super sweet. They're only $5. They're pretty cheap, and they can just win out the game outright. I mean, I saw maybe very little play when it was in standard, but in EDH, it's perfect. And there's cards like Enlightened Tutor is probably one of the last ones I'll talk about. 1 white, instant speed.
In white,
yeah,
right?
Yep. Enlightened Tutor. 1 white, instant speed. Search your library for a artifact or enchantment spell and put it on top of your library. White is one of the few colors that does not get a lot of tutoring effects unless they're searching up enchantments or artifacts. And this is just a really, really good one, as well as Idyllic Tutor.
And in EDH, tutors are extremely popular because you have 100 cards. You only have 1 of any given card. So being able to search up a card is even that much more important.
Yep, that perfect card that you need for that circumstance, whatever, right, is awesome. So
That's why you put the new Obnixilis in your deck.
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't luckily ran into that in my shop, but that I shuffle at least 6 or 7 times a turn in my deck, and that would kill me rather quickly.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So
Also, there's mana for white fixing. There's Mana Tithe and Weathered Wayfarer. But those are really, really good cards too that go and find you lands to kind of keep you on curve if you're playing a mono white or a non green, white deck.
Well, even with that, in most ring play EDH groups, it seems like there's always that one person who's there playing the ramp style.
Yeah, so they're always going to have more lands than you too, so you
Yeah.
can always get the triggers, right? So, and Wayfire actually finds you any land you want, which is actually relevant, which is go find your command tower
Yep.
or whatever. So he's a really good card. Do you want to move to blue?
Yeah, let's talk about blue. Any others that you think of there, Peter?
Yeah, was there any?
Anything that you want to?
I like Sun Titan.
Sun Titan.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I did not talk about Sun Titan.
Go ahead.
How did I miss Sun Titan? Go ahead.
Oh, just he rocks. I mean, any of the Titan series is good, but for him, when he enters the battlefield or attacks, when you can put a guy back onto the battlefield, from your graveyard, I mean, that's just, as you would say, house. So
Even more than just guys, he can get back land. He can get back planeswalkers.
Pernicious
he can get...
Deed. Just saying, it's so good.
Yep.
There he
Wipe
is.
it for 5, and you don't kill your Sun Titan, then just attack and get it back. It also gets back swords.
Yeah.
Like, I love Sun Titan. I love flickering it. I love reanimating him. He's great. I agree with that statement. That he's house.
He's barn.
He's
Barn?
he's a brick house. Yeah. Well, that still has house
Is
in it.
that
That
the
doesn't
thing that
work.
the kids are saying these
Yeah,
days?
they're all
Barn?
saying nowadays. They're all saying barn.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, that's...
Well, that's good. I'm glad
This
you're not
card's so Shaq.
so,
yeah, so
Shaq.
Shaq. Yeah.
Like O'Neal or like I don't know what you're getting at.
We're gonna
but-
start something. That's what we're gonna do.
So garage.
Okay. All right.
That actually probably was a thing with the punk, but I don't
All
think
right.
so.
All right. So blue. Let's move along.
Blue. Oh my gosh, the degenerate things you can do with blue. One of probably the most annoying cards to date in blue is actually a Rhystic Study. It's an enchantment. It's good in PDH because it's also common. 1 blue, 2 colorless. It's an enchantment. You get to draw a card for each spell an opponent casts unless they pay 1 additional mana. I can't tell you how many times I get frustrated with blue players because they always forget to remind me that they played Rhystic Study, and then they don't tell me when they draw cards. It drives me nuts. But anyway, basically you get to draw tons and tons of cards and make your opponents tap more mana than they want to for their spells. It's really, really good. Cards like Consecrated Sphinx.
Yeah. It just popped into the chat room.
2 blue, 4 colorless. It's a 4/6 flyer. Whenever an opponent draws a card, you may draw 2 cards. I mean, think about it. Blue likes to fill up their hand, so why not fill up your hand tons of times?
Even more.
And when you have a Consecrated Sphinx and your opponent has a Consecrated Sphinx, then the fun begins, and you get to deck yourself if you want. It's kind of cool.
Wow.
Because,
Mind
it's
blown.
basically, you play the Sphinx race.
Do you just keep going? So I draw 2 cards, and then you draw 4 cards.
It's a May ability, but I mean, like I've seen people draw half their deck off.
Somebody
like,
has to end a
so like,
cycle.
hey.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
May ability.
Yeah,
Got
like,
it.
hey, you're gonna draw 2 cards. Can I draw? I'm gonna draw 4 cards. And I'm gonna draw 8. I'm gonna draw 16. Like people do that because Reliquary Tower's a thing. So
That is insane.
another really cool card is actually like Friction Metamorph. 3 colorless and a hybrid, or sorry, not hybrid. It's a Friction Blue. It's just a metal. It's a artifact creature that can come into play. It's a clone, but it can clone artifacts too. So if somebody's playing like a really sweet, artifact you want, like maybe Batterskull or Umezawa's Jite or a Scoot, you can copy it for 4 mana or 3 and pay 2 life, which is really, really sweet. Capsize, one of the other really broken blue commons that I hate to see in
Bounce
PDH.
something by it back.
Yep. I've had many times have I had my entire board state flipped back to my hand because of Capsize. 2 blue, 1 colorless, return target permanent to its owner's hand, and it has buyback. Buyback costs 3 mana, just 3 colorless. So essentially you can pay 3 mana to bounce something and then pay 3 mana to put it back in your hand when it resolves. So you basically get to keep the spell and get the effect.
My buddy has been running this in his Riku of the 2 ways EDH and wrecked me last week with that. Capsize is terrible and awesome.
Yeah, it's you live by the sword and die by the sword. It's kind of broken. I mean, even at the end of the turn, I have 6 mana open. Just bounce your land back to your hand. It seems really, really good.
Yeah, worst case scenario, you don't pay the buyback, and it's still almost a boomerang.
Yeah, and speaking of bouncing things back to hand, another really, really cool card is actually Cyclonic Rift. Because who doesn't like to bounce back everything you don't own? Blue and a colorless to return target non-land permanent you don't control back to its owner's hand, or you can overload it for 7 mana and return all non-land permanents you don't control their owner's hand. So
I actually have a problem with this because it says you don't own. I want to bounce all my stuff too.
like all my
stuff, all my
Well,
enters the battlefield guys,
you
all
play
my
like
mold drifters, all my
it's kind of like
my counter snakes.
So, okay, if you like to do that, then there's actually another card you could play. It's called Evacuation. 3 colorless and 2 blue. Evacuation, instant speed, return all creatures to their owner's hands.
Yep.
Really, really, really good. It's basically kind of like a Wrath. It's like Whelming Wave, but a little bit better. I mean, 1 additional mana and instant speed. Another really cool card is there's a lot of different like counter spells out there in blue that you can play in EDH that are really, really awesome, like Hinder, for instance, which is a lot like Spell Crumple. 2 blue, 1 colorless, counter target spell. Instead of putting it into their owner's graveyard, you actually get to put it on the bottom of their owner's library, and you put Hinder on the bottom of your library. So somebody casts their general, put that on the bottom of your library. I'll put Hinder on the bottom of my library. Seems really good. Spell Crumple does effectively the same thing.
Segue.
Is there a segue?
No, it was. You guys did a segue, and it was really cool. I wasn't pointing it out. I was doing the hand motion.
Oh, yeah.
And now you pointed it
now
out.
I'm pointing out and laughing at you on your segue.
Yeah, I'm on my segue. I just got it.
I
Okay.
kind of want one, I'm not gonna
I
lie.
don't think that's how they roll, is it? You lean forward, you don't you don't.
You ever seen Mall Cop? No.
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately I have.
James's chopper segue. It's a thing.
He doesn't lean, he just pushes it. Where were we? Oh, Desertion. Desertion's actually or Spelljack is another card which I don't think we put on, but Desertion
Yeah, it's
costs 3 mana and 2 blue. Right? I don't play blue. And it's like counter target spell.
Counter target spell. If it's an artifact or creature card, put it into play under your control instead of into its owner's graveyard.
Yeah. They're like, cast my general or cast Ulamog or something. Cast something big and awesome and cool. And you're like, I'll take that, thanks. 5 mana. It's a counter spell, but I get it instead. Haha. It's freaking dumb, and I hate playing against it. But it's really, really cool.
It's dumb, and by dumb I mean good.
Exactly. There's also like we talked about Deadeye Navigator. We talked about with like Sun Titan and Silver Primordial. It's 6 mana, 4 colorless, 2 blue for a 5/5 guy that soul bonds on something you can pay 2 blue and flicker it or the thing it's hooked up to. Basically, just get lots of different entering the battlefield effects. It seems really, really good. Cards like Time Warp, just take an extra turn after this. 3 colorless, 2 blue. Seems really good when you're playing multiplayer. I mean, getting 2 turns, more ways of pissing off your friends. Fabricate is also
Everybody knows
really,
that's what you
really
need to
good.
do is make enemies of your friends.
Well, like EDH is interesting because it gets to a point in the game where sometimes you'll take 5 minutes on your turn, and that's not typical with competitive or even normal casual play. So it's kind of different. But Fabricate, 2 colorless, 1 blue. Search your library for an artifact card and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. The thing
who's Dante Hicks?
I have no
That's
idea.
what I was wondering.
Is Dante Hicks someone? I guess so.
It's a character from Clerks.
Oh, Dante.
Someone in the chat room wants to know if you've ever been mistaken for Dante Hicks, Peter.
That's I never thought about that.
Are you supposed to be here
I
today?
do have sort of Brian O'Halloran thing going on, but not presently.
Okay.
Good call though. Good catch.
All right, let's keep going. I'm sorry for that detour. For that, no, that wasn't. That was a segue. That was a rabbit hole.
It's like dolphin. Yeah.
Emrakul.
We missed you, bud.
Rabbit hole. Segue. Okay. Where were we?
People are flipping through like, what's going on? Blue doesn't get a whole lot of tutoring effects. Most of their tutoring effects also go find artifacts, or they go find instants of sorceries, such as Mystical Tutor. 1 blue, go find an instant sorcery, put it on top of your library. So the way that they supplement that is, just like in every other blue, you just draw cards. So the idea is instead of going and finding it, maybe you have the chance of just drawing into it, right? So, another card is Blue Sun Zenith, which I totally missed. 3 blue, X, target player draws X cards. It's really, really good in targeting yourself, or it's really, really good targeting your opponents, because then maybe you can deck them with it. Or, for instance, if you're kind of playing like a political game and somebody's like, oh, I need a Wrath effect to take care of this guy because he's getting out of hand, you can Blue Sun Zenith them for X amount of money to maybe get them into the Wrath or whatever, right? So it's kind of interesting to play up some of the politics in EDH. But was there any other cards that you guys could think of for blue that you would want to add to this list?
Nope.
I mean, there's tons and tons of stuff.
Yeah,
We're
obviously
gonna try to hit some of the key
there's
points.
no end to the number of cards that we could talk about, but those are definitely some of the blue cards that are at the top of the list. Okay, so should we go into black?
Yeah. My next favorite color.
What is your favorite color? Green, huh?
Actually, I think black's slowly becoming my favorite color, and green's just kind of
Yay.
becoming the modes of getting there now.
Yeah.
So
You never
demonic. You never. Yeah, I'll never go back. I won't. It's true. Demonic Tutor, one of the best cards you can get in a black deck. 2 mana, 1 colorless, 1 black. Search your library for a card and put it in your hand. Seems really good. You know, pisses off Peter's
go back.
parents.
Probably one of the best cards because it's any card.
Yeah, like, so, you know, white searches up artifacts and enchantments. Blue searches up artifacts or just tons of, or instant sorceries or just draws. Black's really strong suit in EDH is going and finding that one card you need and putting it in your hand and not worrying about it ever again. You have it now. And so, like, things like Runescar Demon is sweet for 7 mana, 5 colorless, 2 black. You get a 6/6 flyer, and when he enters the battlefield, you get to search up your library for a card and put it in your hand. I mean,
Plus,
this is awesome.
Look at that art.
It's really cool. There's runes. It's literally the epitome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yep.
But I like this because you can reanimate it and flicker it. If you hook it up to a Deadeye Navigator, now for 2 mana, you're getting a Demonic Tutor whenever you want. I mean, the other thing about EDH is if you can get a card effect on a creature, there's more ways of breaking that or more ways of utilizing it or getting multiple uses out of that than if it's just like a spell. So just food for thought when you're building these. Another really cool card is Vampiric Tutor. 1 black, instant speed, search your library for any card, lose 2 life, and put it on top of your library. So really, really awesome, good card too. Another way that black gets into some of its stuff is draw cards. I mean, we've talked about this before in prior podcasts. Things like Phyrexian Arena or Underworld Connections. You know, for 2 black and 1 colorless, either it pings you once per turn and you draw a card, or you get to tap a land, pay a life, and draw cards. So it's more ways of getting cards, but at the cost of life. Shielded Whispering One has got to be another annoying card that just likes to make people frustrated at you and becomes a huge target on the battlefield. For 5 colorless and 2 black, you get a 6/6 Swamp Walk legendary creature that at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, they have to sacrifice a creature, and at your upkeep, you get to bring a guy back from your graveyard back to the battlefield. So, I mean, she's awesome. She's really, 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 really good.
Yeah, again, awesome.
Do you run
art.
her in your deck, Peter?
I do. I love Shieldred.
She's just in the Swamp Walk. I mean, you can
yeah.
also abuse it to hit other people too. Decree of Pain, black. So white's going to be primarily a lot of your wrath effects, your board sweepers, just like in normal, everyday Magic. Blue's going to have a lot of bouncing effects. Black is going to have other kill effects. Decree of Pain is a really perfect example. They printed it in one of the Commander decks, right? I think they did. In the
maybe
in the Esper one. In the Allura one, I think they did.
Yeah, in fact,
And
I
they
think
also
this is
printed
the
it in the Commander
I think
Arsenal,
this
too.
card is from one of them.
Yeah. For 8 mana, 6 colorless, 2 black, destroy all creatures that can't be regenerated, and you get a draw card for each creature destroyed this way. Just 8 mana, blow everything up, draw tons of cards. Really, really good. And it cycles for 3 colorless and 2 black, and when you cycle it, each creature gets -2/-2. So then it's an Infest or a Drown Sorrow ability, too, at instant speed. Also, like Damnation, which we've talked about in the past, 2 colors, 2 black, destroy all the things, can't be regenerated. As we talked earlier, Kokusho, the Evening Star, is really, really good in black. 4 colors, 2 black for 5/5 body that whenever it dies, each opponent loses 5 life and you gain life lost that way. Things like, just lost my place. Reanimating effects, like there's Beacon of Unrest, 3 colorless, 2 black, sorcery speed, put target artifact or creature from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, and then shuffle Beacon back in your library. There's also a lot of other Beacon effects. There's a Beacon effect for each color, and each one of them seems pretty good. I think the only one that's kind of lackluster is the green one, just because it puts 1/1 saplings equal amount of force you control. So unless you're playing mono green, it's not very worth it. And then things like one other card is Sudden Death. Probably the last card I will talk about. And Erebos is really good too. But Sudden Death. That's maybe not the one I'm thinking of. What's the split second one that gives you guys 0/2?
Sudden spoiling.
Sudden Spoiling. That's the one I meant. Sorry. 2 black and 1 colorless. Split second. Split second means it can't be countered and nothing else can be put on the stack until this resolves. And it basically makes all of your opponent's creatures or target player's creatures become 0/2 and they lose all their abilities. So Split Second basically enables you to be able to stop combos or stop big, huge things going on, or just it happens, no questions asked, it just happens. And so this is one of those really cool cards. I mean, it's really, really cheap. It's like $1, but it's a kind of a really sweet combo breaker. Or, if somebody swings out with their team that just got really, really big, you can make them all 0/2s. So... any other black cards? Yeah. I like Erebos God of the Dead, personally. 4 mana for a 5/7 guy, Devotion Clause 7, or 5. Pay 2 mana, draw a card, lose 2 life, and your opponents can't gain life. It's just really, really good, and making your opponents not gain life is awesome. So,
Peter, what do you think? Anything else on the black list that you would include?
See, I love black, so Grave Titan is huge. Just a lot of fun. Anytime he comes into the battlefield or attacks, you get a 2/2 zombie, so that's awesome. For me, though, anytime I play black, I always put in either Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, or Culling the Weak in,
just to
get a little bit of black ramp in, which is nice.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a lot of people that I've talked to that play the ritual effects, like you just named off. Or they also play like mana dorks. And my only argument to that is why play something that only affects once when you can play something that's going to be permanent and it helps you the rest of the game?
Well, 2 reasons for that, I guess. One is, I'm slowly learning about what cards are good in EDH. So it's like there's some I've completely overlooked, I'm sure. And the other thing is, I just have a sentimental attachment to Dark Ritual because it's the oldest card I have. So
absolutely,
I just like it. But yeah.
I do think that there's one that adds black equal amount of cards in your graveyard. That one's busted, just busted.
Ooh,
but
I'll take a look at that one.
I forget what it's called. I'll find out and let you know what it is. They play it in Moldy Cheerios and Legacy. No, it's not Black Market.
I seriously think some of these deck names, they sound like the names of like the pot they come up with in Pineapple Express, like Spanish Trampoline.
Yeah.
So I just want to come up with a deck and be like, yeah, I was playing Perverted Oxen, and man, it just went
something happened. Yeah.
You need to send me this Perverted Oxen list.
It's just,
I will play this.
It's just Minotaurs. And they're,
Yeah, I guess I'd still play that.
They're sickly. I don't know.
Are they wearing loincloths?
Oh, my God.
So,
you guys are funny.
Driving on our segue really quickly.
Okay.
Wow, I just lost it. No, Moldy Cheerios, it's a green-black deck, and they play all of the 0-drop creatures in the deck. So get 0-drop, like Cheerio, and the green-black because they're moldy. It's flavorful. Anyways.
Flavorful. No, not flavorful.
No.
I didn't think about that, but yeah. I don't know if you like moldy stuff, Penicillin is a thing.
Penicillin is a thing.
Just saying. I don't know if you can get it from Cheerios. I think it's just bread, but...
I don't know. Maybe.
Do you want to move to red?
Let's move to red. And I know this is...
Song of the Damned. Thank you, Mint Chocolate. That was it. That was the card I was thinking of. Yeah, it's like 1 black or 2 colorless and black, and you get 1 black for each card in your graveyard. So you're just like, blah, mana.
I'm going to put up this
What was
artwork.
the name of that again? I'm totally going to look for that.
Song of the Damned.
Song
or
of the
Spoils
Damned.
of Evil.
Wah, ah, ah.
Or type in Spoils of Evil.
Song of the Darned. Song of the Severely Darned.
Songs of the...
Darn you.
Yeah, that's it. For each creature card in your graveyard, yeah. Okay, so red seems like it's kind of one of the now I'm gonna piss off a lot of people when I say this. Not
Careful what you say here.
one of the more popular.
Understand who is running the camera.
Colors.
That's-
Mostly
EDH.
because red has a lot of burn spells in them. And
Oh, I
burn
see.
isn't
The
as good
police.
in
Oh, I
EDH.
see.
And so yeah, like it doesn't give you a lot
Red.
of value throughout the game. Like Dark Ritual, you know what I mean? If you bolt somebody once, it's once. You know what I mean? Whereas if you can bolt them a turn, it seems better. And so red's kind of one of those colors like when you can make it works beautifully and it's streamlined, it's awesome. But if it takes a lot of work in trying to get the right cards and the right counts, and it's a little bit harder to play in EDH, at least from my perspective. And maybe that's just
That
me.
makes sense, and maybe then the EDH is the chance for me to branch out a little bit.
Yeah.
Try different
We
things.
still need to play.
You gonna flower over there?
Bro. Can we water you? No.
Synchronized swimming right here. All right.
I would just sink, to be honest. So one of the kind of just sweetest cards in red, and it's almost an auto-clued. It seems like in almost every red deck is Kiki-Jiki Mirror Breaker. I think we've talked about this card plenty of times.
I don't know how many times. Yeah.
But 2/2 haste guy, you can tap him. Cost 5 mana. You can tap him, put a creature token that's a copy of a non-legendary creature you control on the battlefield. It gains haste and sacrifice it in a turn. So just be able to get like extra value, like copying your Solemn Simulacrum each turn, or your Runescar Demon, or your whatever, your Restoration Angel, something, going infinite. Seems really, really good. A lot of people will even play this as their general, sometimes in red. Another really sweet card that also makes your friends mad is Hellkite Tyrant. Hellkite Tyrant costs 4 colorless and 2 red for, I believe it's a 6/6.
It's a 6/5.
6/5. Flying Trample. Yeah.
Jinx, you owe me a soda.
Okay. Whenever he does combat damage to a player, you can steal all artifacts that player owns. Once you control 20 artifacts, you win the game at the beginning of your next upkeep.
Yeah, that card just screams EDH.
Yeah,
Doesn't
and
it?
Absolutely,
EDH is just full of mana rocks, and so he just wants to gobble them all up and take them for his own.
Yeah.
Inferno Titan seems really good too. And that's the thing too. A lot of the red good cards are really expensive, but once you get there, they're awesome. Just when 6 mana for 6/6. When it comes into play, shoot something for 3 damage or split. You can
Multiple
split it up.
things.
Yeah, and then you can also, whenever it attacks, you do it too. Magmatic Force. This came out in Commander deck. I don't think it was in a regular cycle. But it costs 8 mana, and I don't remember its power and toughness. All I know is that at the beginning of each player's upkeep, except for each opponent's upkeep, it deals 3 damage to that player. I think, if I remember right. Seems really, really good.
Whenever Inferno Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, it deals 3 damage, divided as you choose among any 2 or 3 target creatures and/or players.
Yeah. So it's just a spot removal, and also you can pump it because it's got fire breathing too, which is pretty cool. Insurrection. Freaking amazing. Let everybody else do the work, and then just kill them with their own guys. Seems perfect. That's kind of Red's thing, right? It's 5 colorless.
That's also my thing. Let everybody else do the work, and I'll just sit back and look pretty.
Just steal all the credit and kill us with it.
Yeah.
Insurrection costs 5 colorless, 3 red. Untap all creatures and gain control of all creatures until end of turn.
That is such
and they gain haste.
I don't know how you can say that red is a bad color. Look at that thing.
It just takes a lot of mana. And once you get up to the mana, though, it's
Yeah,
great,
but that happens
so.
in EDH quite a bit, doesn't it? I mean,
Fairly often.
It's
It depends on
different.
what kind of game you're playing.
Yeah, it's different.
If you're doing one of those grindy 3-hour games, then if you're having problem getting to 8 mana, then you're doing it wrong.
The reason why is red doesn't have as much card draw as the other colors. So it's a little harder to keep going after and getting all your mana consistently and getting cards to be able to keep you in the game long enough. But yeah, so Insurrection is great. Urbrask the Hidden's awesome. He gives all of your guys haste, and creatures your opponents control come to play tapped. He's 5 mana for 5/4 with haste.
4/4.
4/4, sorry. Also, there's things like Chaos Warp. I mean, this is a red removal spell. 2 colorless and 1 red. Shuffle target permanent into their owner's library, and then they reveal the top card. If it's a
Didn't
permanent
come up.
card, you get to put it on the battlefield for free.
I didn't-
So if they play the general, maybe they'll shuffle into their library. Maybe they'll get a land. Maybe they'll get a bigger creature, smaller creature. Maybe they'll get an enchantment. Who knows? But at least the target you wanted to get rid of is gone for that turn. Cards like Reiterate's really sweet, especially if you're playing against a lot of people who also play instant sorceries or somebody who's playing a ramp deck that's playing a lot of spells like that. 2 red and a colorless for a spell that copy target spell, but you can pay 3 mana and buy it back, so you can do it again and again and again and keep copying things. Like somebody's like, Doomblade that, you're like 6 mana, copy that. Seems really, really good. Cards like War's Toll. War's Toll. 3 colorless, 1 red. It's an enchantment that whenever a player taps a land, they must tap each other land that produces a color of that type on their battlefield. So it actually kind of shuts down a lot of decks from playing during other people's turns, because then it makes them so they can't play stuff during their own turn. Otherwise, they're going to tap out all that stuff.
And can I just say, this is interesting. If there's a lot of people in the chat room that are throwing out cards that we're not listing, and so this is good because they're mentioning things. If you're hearing this on audio and you want a little more in depth, you can always grab the YouTube version of this and go and watch it and watch the chat room, because they're going to be throwing out other ideas that we're not covering here too.
Yeah, I'm actually ignoring it right now.
I know
we're hitting a lot of these cards. It's just
some we hit, some we don't. But that's good, because anyway, there's just extra value of doing that. That's all I'm saying.
And literally, you can type in like EDH staples in Google, and it'll pull up like tons of forums.
We don't want to
and
tell
stuff
them
like
that, because why would they be listening to us? Just kidding.
I'm just
I don't
kidding.
know.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, this is one of those things I was thinking about writing up an article that I still haven't written up yet. Stranglehold also is a really good card. I think it's 2 colorless and a red for enchantment that players can't gain life and opponents can't search their libraries. So it shuts down other people and makes everybody else play on the same same playing field as you play. Gratuitous Violence. Whenever a creature you control will deal damage, it deals double that much damage, and it's 5 mana. Aggravated Assault has got to be like one of the freaking awesome, sweet, cool red cards. It's 3 colorless and 2 colorless and 1 red for an enchantment. You can pay 3 colorless and 2 red to untap all creatures you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by another additional phase. So basically, if you have 10 mana, you can get 3 combat phases.
That's crazy.
So that seems like that's what Red wants to do, right? He's going smash, smash, smash. So this enables you, when you have tons of mana in EDH, to keep smashing, or attack this player and then attack this player, and it seems really, really good. Wheel of Fortune, which when you play it, you should all yell,
Unknown user says, is this an ED8 red deck? Yeah, you just put all these cards into it. No, we're just talking about really good cards in red right now. Anyway.
We're just giving some staples of some good EDH red cards that maybe you haven't seen or heard before.
Mm-hmm.
Wheel of Fortune, 2 colorless, a red, sorcery speed. Everybody discards their hand and then draws 7 cards. So just kind of it helps you with your card draw in red. Now into some of the other stuff. Red has a lot of effects that do sweepers, and there's tons and tons of them. I mean, you can play Slagstorm, whatever. What's the new one? Anger of the Gods, stuff like that. But the one I like the most is actually Blasphemous Act. It costs 9 mana. Go.
Because it's 13 damage to everything.
I like this one a lot. I used to play this with
Boros Reckoner.
Yeah, that was so awesome.
Shoot your opponent.
Yeah.
Or Stuffy Doll.
Stuffy Doll.
Just saying, guys.
Same effect.
Yeah, when Boros and this were still standard legal, I used this in my Redburn deck. I loved it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Kaboom.
Yep. Cost 9 mana. It costs one colorless less for each creature on the battlefield, and it just deals 13 damage to each creature. Just sweeps the board for basically up to one red, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Another really good card is Sneak Attack. I know these are kind of expensive because of Legacy, and I mean it's totally understandable why they are that expensive, but they're really good. For 2 colorless.
Oh, look at that art.
Colorless, 3 colors and a red.
It's not even a sneak attack. I mean, the dragon's sleeping.
They're gonna gang up on the dragon, man.
I know.
Goblins, they do what they can. Pay 1 red, choose a creature card in your hand, put it into play, it gains haste, sacrifice it at the end of the turn. So it's just a way of kind of putting out some of your big guys really quickly, and you can actually go infinite with like Palinchron and crap like that too with it. And another thing, Purpur's God of the Forge is just house. Like him as a general is really, really good. 3 colorless and a red for a 6/5 guy that whenever a creature comes to play under your control, each opponent loses 2 life.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're hitting everybody else on the board. Plus you can pay 3 mana and give all your guys +1/+0. I'm going to give you guys a little secret. There's a guy at my shop that plays Purphoros, and I remember meeting him, and I was giving him crap because he was playing mono red Purphoros. I'm like, dude, that's terrible. And he went turn 1 Gamble, which Gamble's also a really good card. 1 red sorcery, go find a card to put in your hand, and then discard a card at random. So it's
here's
a red
something,
tutoring effect.
Here's something that our people at home should know is that Peter is on the East Coast, so he's 2 hours behind us. So it's now 11:15. His time,
sorry,
and he's looking tired.
I don't mean to be. I'm sorry.
No, you're totally cool, but I'm just sitting here going, man.
Well, interrupt me, guys. Sorry.
No, that's cool. No, that's cool.
No, you're doing just fine.
Yeah.
Going.
No, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I just was looking like you just look like you're about to fall asleep. Get some toothpicks out. So. Anyway, you were saying, what were you saying there?
Oh, so there's this guy Brad that plays at my local LGS that I work at, and he plays a Purphoros deck. And I remember when I first met him, I was giving him tons of crap because I was like, dude, you play Purphoros, mono red never works, it's bad, it's basically just everything I just said, but way meaner. I'm like, why are you playing this? And he went turn 1 Gamble, go find card, put card in my hand. Apparently he went and grabbed Norin the Wary. Norin the Wary costs 1 red. It's a 2/1. Whenever a player casts a spell or attacks with a creature, exile Norin the Wary and return it to the battlefield under its owner's control on like the next upkeep or something like that. Yeah. Whenever a player plays a spell or a creature attacks, remove Norin the Wary from the game, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at end of turn. So the interesting thing is, like, turn 2, he went turn 1 Soul Ring, turn 2 Purphoros, turn 3 Gamble, found Norin the Wary, cast Norin the Wary. I don't think I've had a faster game of EDH without somebody comboing out since. I mean, everybody's like, cast a guy, and he's like, hey, exile, comes into play, ping everybody for 2. So he's like, attack with a guy, okay, exile him, everybody comes, like, 2 damage a turn just for casting things. It was really, really busted.
Huh.
And it works really well with things with, like, Thopter Assembly that puts tokens into play with Purphoros. Any token type strategy is really good, too, so. But is there any other red cards you guys can think of?
Anything in red, Peter, that you can think of?
No, because I sort of avoid playing red at all costs. So.
I don't blame you, sir. Zealous Conscripts works really good with Kiki-Jiki for the infinite combo, and you just steal any permanent your opponents control until end of turn. Works really good for Planeswalkers. You steal them right as soon as they're about to ultimate. If your playgroup let them get that high, and then you get the bonus. So I've had good interactions with him.
Yeah, and
All right.
he's really good too because you can snag somebody else's big speeder, right, and beat them in the face with it.
Well,
It's
we
like
got
a
to hustle
instruction stick,
on
so.
here. We're only through red, and we have green and some others to go. So just pick,
Green.
pick 5 or 6 of your best ones out of this one.
Okay. This is gonna be the hard one.
We're already going on to
How far are we?
like an hour and 30 minutes already.
Okay, cool. Green. One of the best
That was
cards
great.
in
Now
green.
colorless.
Huh? Oh, wait,
So
no,
that was
not
great. Now colorless.
Yeah. Oracle Moldiah. Oracle Moldiah costs 3 colorless, 1 green. It's a 2/2 guy. Reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may play it. You may play 2 additional lands.
I didn't say just talk faster. I said just do less cards.
Whatever you're doing, do less of that.
Yeah. Oracle Moldiah is really, really good. Basically enables you to play lots of extra lands and also being able to get the lands off the top. This is Corsair Curvix before Corsair Curvix was a thing.
This is the hipster Corsair.
Yeah, another really good card is Sylvan Library. Sylvan Library costs 1 colorless, 1 green. It's an enchantment. At the beginning of your draw step, you get to draw an additional, I think it's 2 cards. And
Yes.
then you
Pay for
may
life.
put them in your hand if you pay 4 life. It's worded really, really funny, but basically it allows you to kind of scry a little bit and then draw extra cards for life. Wow. Let's do skip.
Oh, wow. That one's in another language.
Yeah. That's on library, yep. Green Sun Zenith. 1 green X. Search your library for a green creature card with a commander cost X or less. Put it on the battlefield. Shuffle Green Sun Zenith back in your library. Tooth and Nail. One of the best green cards in EDH. Tooth and Nail. 5 colorless, 2 green. Choose one, search your library for 2 creature cards, put them in your hand, or put 2 creature cards from your hand into play. You can entwine it if you pay 2 mana. So basically for 9 mana, you get to go search for 2 guys, put them in your hand, and then put any 2 guys from your hand into play. Just house.
And then notice how a lot of these are, once again, tutor effects.
Yeah. And green, when they usually tutor up just lands or creatures. Speaking of more ways of getting creatures, survival of the fittest. 1 colorless, 1 green. Enchantment, pay 1 green, discard a creature card, search your library for a creature card. Survival of fittest.
Okay.
Search your library for a creature card, put it in your hand. And then another really good card is actually Genesis Wave. 3 green and X. Reveal the top X cards of your library. Flip over the top card of your library. If it's a permanent card with CMC X or less, put it on the battlefield. And then you proceed to do this for X amount of cards, whatever the top is. So basically, like, you could do it for 10 and reveal the top 10 cards, put all permanents into play, and everything else in your graveyard. So you basically just get to put out a lot of different stuff. One of the biggest win cons is going to be Crater Hoof Behemoth. Crater Hoof Behemoth costs 5 colorless, 3 green for a 5/5 guy with haste. When he comes into play, each creature you control gets +X in trample, where X is equal to the amount of creatures you control. Cultivate Kodama's Reach is really good.
If you're just not impressed by Rich's memory, I don't know what would impress you. I mean, he's able to pretty much spout, just.
Sorry.
I'm giving you a compliment that you're just
thanks.
you can basically recite these cards.
A funny fact though, when I do that with parents, like kids are asking me about cards and I'm doing this, and the parents behind them, they're already kind of shunning their kid because they're playing Magic. They look at me like I'm insane.
Insane.
They're like, I'm like, I work in Magic.
Yeah, but even if I think I work behind a counter like that, I don't think I'd have a memory like that. I mean, it's like a steel trap.
There's also, I have a computer, but I don't even have any. I just have the name of the cards.
Yeah, you're not looking at them.
Balanced Realms. Balanced Realms costs 6 colorless and a green. Search your library for any amount of basic land cards or equal to the amount of lands you control and put those basic lands into play tapped. It's really, really, really good ramp spell. There's cards like Kodama's Reach and Cultivate that you should also play. They basically cost 3 mana. Search your library for 2 basic land cards, put 1 in your hand and 1 in the battlefield. Trying to hurry and think of other ones. Beast Within is a really good one. Green suffers with removal, so any amount of removal is really good. 1 green, 2 colorless, destroy target permanent. They get a 3/3 Beast token instead. Much like the Terracodon that we talked earlier, which is also another card that we would interject here. Woodfall Primus, 5 colorless, 3 green for an 6/6 trample guy that when he comes into play, destroy target non-creature permanent, and he has Persist. So if you have ways of getting him +1/+1 counters, he can die over and over and over again, or he can just blow up 2 permanents for 1 card, or non-creature permanents, which is really, really good. There's way more cards I would like to talk about in green, but we probably have to keep going. One last one, though, is probably going to be Defense of the Heart. 3 colorless and 1 green for an enchantment. That's not it.
Defense
of the Heart.
I don't see it here.
Okay. It costs
So
3
never mind.
colorless and a green, so 4 mana for an enchantment. It says at the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls 3 or more creatures, you sacrifice it. You must sacrifice it. Search your library for 2 creature cards and put them into play. Seems really, really, really good. I mean, there's a lot of cool thick cards like Avengers Zendikar, Doubling Season, Exploration, Greater Good. There's lots and lots of green good cards. I could talk about it for literally a year and still not be done.
So do you think green's the best color?
For me, I think it is.
Is there a
like
best color in
green.
EDH?
They're all pretty good.
Except for red.
The red is the only one suffering, and it's just because of the card draw. If red in any other deck, if you add another color with it, it becomes tremendously much better and broken. And also red gets hated out a lot because there's a lot of chaos type cards that penalize everybody for things, or stuff like that. And so it makes people who want to just do their thing and just play in their own little world kind of mad when you start taking their creatures and beating their face in with it. So
okay.
Colorless. Let's go to colorless. Do we just want to say Mana Rocks and just leave it at that?
Yeah, because the colorless cards can fit in just about every deck.
Right. I mean, you got Soaring, Dark Soul. You got Grim Monolith, Basalt Monolith.
The base
In
ones.
fact,
Shamanic
Soul Ring was, I
Lantern.
think, in every single.
One colorless, tapped, add 2 colorless mana. Gilded Lotus, Wayfarer's Bauble, things like that. Caged Sun. When it comes to play, you name a color, and each time you tap a land for that color, it doubles that mana. It gives you an additional 1 of that mana, and then it gives all your guys of that color +1/+1. But let's talk about some of the broken degenerate cards. Sensei's Divining Top, anyone?
Oh yeah.
One of the most broken, annoying cards in Commander ever. For 1 colorless, you get an artifact that you can pay 1 colorless and look at the top 3 cards of your library and put them back in any order you want, anytime. And then you can tap it to draw a card and then put Sensei's Divining Top back on top of your library. I play Crossing Grip just to get rid of Divining Tops because I hate watching people Divining Top every 3 seconds of the game. It drives me nuts. And it's like a $40 uncommon, and it just keeps going up and up and up. It's ridiculous. Crystal Ball. If you guys are interested in playing something similar to Sensei's Divining Top, but you don't want to pay $40, there's a card called Crystal Ball from M11. 3 mana for a artifact that you can pay 1 and tap it and scry 2. It's like the poor man's Divining Top, and it works pretty effectively. Skull Clamp is really good. 1 colorless. It's banned in almost every format except for Legacy and EDH, so perfect opportunity to play it. It's an equipment, costs 1 colorless, and you can equip it for 1. Target equipped creature gets +1/-1. When equipped creature dies, draw 2 cards. So this is another way of supplementing and getting tons of card draw. Enter Swords. Swords. Sword of Feast and Famine is probably the most played. 3 colorless for
hands down.
Yeah, for an equipment that gives your guys pro green, pro black, +2/+2, and whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you get to untap all your lands and they discard a card. It's really good to just kind of get 2 uses out of your mana per turn. Dark Plate gives you guys, gives your equipped creature indestructible. Swiftfoot Boots gives your guys hexproof and haste. Lightning Greaves gives your guys shroud and haste. Whisper Soak Cloak gives you guys shroud and unblockable. So these cards are really good at protecting your commander or creatures that you want to keep alive. Rings of Bright Hearth is probably another really, really big one that we should just capsize on, and then there's going to be 2 more that we'll talk about. That's about it.
Rings of
Bright Hearth.
Right, yeah.
So what it does is whenever you play an activated ability that is not a mana ability, you may pay 2 additional mana. If you do, you get to copy that ability. Basically, this kind of can go double, like with anything really. Like there's a lot of activated abilities. Like with Basalt Monolith, you can actually go infinite almost, because the Basalt Monolith, you pay 3, it taps for 3 mana, and then you could pay 3 mana to untap it. So you can pay, tap it, add 3 mana, use that 3 mana and 2 colorless to untap it and pay the activation twice, basically, to copy the untap trigger twice. With after 1 resolves and the other one's still on the stack, add 3 colorless, and then it'll untap, and you can tap it again for 3 colorless, and now you have 6. And so now, now you'll have infinite colorless mana, basically, which is really cool. And then Wormcoil Engine is just an auto-include because it's really, really good. 6 mana for a 6/6 lifelink Death Touch guy. When it dies, you get to put a 3/3 Worm token with lifelink on the battlefield and a 3/3 Death Touch Worm token on the battlefield. It's just extra value and super life gain, right? And Sad Robot.
Sad Robot?
We'll end with Sad Robot.
You could not skip Sad Robot.
No, he's so depressing. Solemn Simulacrum is the name of him.
I typed in Sad Robot. I didn't get any.
It's like Wally pops up.
Put in Weeping Automaton.
What did you say?
To put in Weeping Automaton.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Sad Robot. Aw, Wally.
Yeah. So, what does he do, Blades?
He fetches a land for you when he enters the battlefield, and he's a 2/2 for 4. When he dies, he draws you a card, so he's just value all around.
Yeah, he's basically, you get 3 modes out of him, right? You get a body, you get a land, and you get a draw card.
Yep.
And it goes in every single EDH deck ever made, possibly, because it's colorless. So it's something you should auto-include.
That's weird.
Should we move to multicolored?
Yeah, last category.
Almost there. Okay, Vindicate is going to be definitely one of the big ones. Black, white, colorless, sorcery speed, destroy target permanent. And it looks like Star Wars, which I probably can't say on Twitch, and I just realized that. But
Oh, it doesn't matter. You can say Star Wars.
Star Wars.
I think we
You can
can.
say
But it kind of looks kind of Star Wars-esque. It's really cool.
Absolutely.
Check out the backstory on this. Apocalypse, it's fun. Pernicious Deed, 1 green, 1 black, 1 colorless. This got reprinted in Conspiracy. It's an enchantment that you can pay X at any given time and sacrifice Pernicious Deed to blow up all non-land permanents. Sorry. It's not all non. It's artifacts, creatures, enchantments with command cost X or less. So it's a field wipe. Putrefy, it's in standard. Destroy target artifact or creature. Mortify, which is just like Putrefy, but it's black, a white, and colorless to destroy target enchantment or creature. Decimate. Decimate's really good. 2 colorless, a red and a green. Destroy target creature, destroy target land, and destroy target artifact. Right? 4 mana to blow up 3 things. Fires of Yavimaya, it's an enchantment. 1 colorless, 1 green, 1 red. This also came in the Naya precon. Creatures you control get haste, which is really, really good. And you can sacrifice it if you need to give a guy +2/+2. Terminate, 1 black, 1 red. Instant speed, destroy a guy. Hull Breach, 1 red, 1 green. Sorcery speed, destroy an artifact or enchantment and another artifact or enchantment. So 2 mana to blow up 2 things. Wow, there's so many here. So many. Like Prime Speaker Zagana comes to play, draws you to the cards. Prophet of Krufix is one of the most annoying cards ever, but it's really good. You know, it's in standard, 3 colorless, blue, green, 2/3 guy that you get to untap. You know what I mean? It's just like Seedborn Muse, which we unfortunately skipped in green. But you get to cast things with flash. It's really, really good.
today on MTGYou, Rich says as many cards as he can think of.
Yeah. Right? Mountain.
Thanks, Lobert.
Mox Opal. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
No, it's good because, you know, I mean, this is interesting stuff. We have 38 people in the chat room. It's not like it's not like people are leaving because evidently they like you.
Should be an auctioneer.
They like hearing you read the phone book.
Well, hopefully I'm getting most of these cards right because I don't have any of them in front of me.
Yeah,
So.
I think you're doing a good job.
But anyway, like, what other like really good multicolored cards can you guys think about? Because I got to catch my breath a little bit.
You know, let's go back to that. That's a lot of the cards, but I wanted to touch on a couple of things that Peter put in the doc here that I think that I sort of skipped over a little bit.
Oh, and there's like the Angel Cycle from Abyss. There's tons of cycles that are really good.
So Peter, you put some stuff in the document here that you were talking about, and we should have hit this earlier on, and I spaced it off. Cheaper than other formats.
Right. I think, you know, definitely EDH with the whole singleton thing, it's a lot cheaper than standard or other things where, I mean, at least it seems to be to start off with because you don't need, you know, 4 shocks. You don't need, you know, a bunch of, you know, like 4 goifs and stuff like that to make a deck work. Now, the thing is, I mean, to make an EDH deck, it can be expensive if you want to have a good mana base. Like if you're going to be playing like 5 color slivers or something like that, you're going to need a lot of stuff to make that work. Mm-hmm. Especially if you need, like if you want to have the top 4 slivers, you know, Queen, Hive Lord, Overlord, and Legion. I mean, those things are $30 to $40 a pop.
Right.
So, but I do think that there are ways to get around that. Like you don't have to have like a commander that's going to be like super, super, super expensive. I mean, there are ways to get around that by, for instance, getting the oversized version. I mean, the oversized version of a lot of these commanders are like $2 or $3.
Right.
They're pretty cheap, yeah.
Which is pretty amazing. So, I mean, you can get a lot of these, you know, fairly decent commanders, like, or even ones that were reprinted. Like, if you want to run Thraximunder as your commander, you can go for like the $5 or $8 version from way back in, you know, the Alara block, or you can use the reprint from the more recent
it's like $2
commander
right?
set for like it's like $1.50.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of being smart and looking, you know, for where your cards are. You know, where they, so I mean, it doesn't have to be an expensive format for people, and it's a good way for people to do things starting out.
Mm-hmm. That's go ahead.
Oh, I was just say, going back to like the budget aspect of it. The thing is, like, I named off a lot of really expensive cards too among that list. But the cool thing, there's actually a lot of cards that are classical reprints of other cards that they may do something very, very similar, but they're a little bit different, and they're usually a lot cheaper. I mean, there's a card like Natural Order that you enchant a guy, and when it dies, you search the library for a card and put it in play. You know what I mean? But there's a Natural Order that's like $30-$50. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of these cards that are really, really good, but there's also cards that are almost as good as these cards that are like literally leagues cheaper too, right? I mean, you can get a lot of these cards for pretty cheap, which is pretty awesome.
Anyway, I guess we better wrap up this section. But is there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we wrap it up?
Peter, Blades,
Anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, is there a way to put an apostrophe on this or to put an exclamation point on this?
colon.
Let's see. Oh, I hear Noah. Is Noah?
Yeah.
Anything you need to take care of?
Unfortunately, I think probably.
Okay, you go for it.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure, guys.
All right. All right. Thanks,
See you, man.
Peter. We'll talk to you
All right,
later.
night.
Take care. Bye-bye.
And yeah. Let's see. Let me
He just had a new baby, so
Yeah, he's
he's gonna go play dad.
he's not. Noah was not being happy. I could hear Noah there in the background, so we probably had to let him go. Anyway, let's move along to our combat phase.
Combat phase.
What happened this week, guys?
Nothing much. I finally got time to sit down and play the Jace vs. Vraska duel decks.
Sweet.
Of course, I was on the Jace end.
Vraska wins.
No, came close. Knocked me down to 1 life while they were at 22, and then I stabilized and then came back to
Didn't I
beat down some face.
Didn't I see on Facebook a picture of you with a little frowny face?
Ooh, yes.
You didn't look happy.
Put together sealed polls with my wife, with M15, and she's like, "If I win, I'm totally gonna post a picture of you with your frowny face on Facebook and brag about it." And I'm like, "Feel free."
And she
and
did.
then she beat me 2-0.
And so
Serves you right, man.
And then
Yeah.
we played many times after that, and I did not drop a game since then.
She let him win.
So
oh, that's funny.
she probably did let me win. My wife is actually not so bad at Magic.
Yeah, she's
despite
pretty
the fact
good.
that she doesn't play as often as I
well,
believe
she does like
should.
limited with you a lot, doesn't she? Like
She
pre-release
is
events and stuff
definitely
like that.
more into the limited aspect.
Yep.
Every once in a while, we'll catch a draft together, but
how about you, Rich?
Went top 4 GPT and just played a lot of PDH. Get ready for school. That's about all I've been doing.
I've been playing a little bit of Duels of the Planeswalker. That's not a lot, but a little bit.
DOTP.
Yeah. So, I mean, I said last week I was going to play more than I did the week before. So I did. I did play some. I did turn on Duels of the Planeswalker.
How's it going? Is it been
I like
a lot
it.
of fun?
I like it.
Is
you
it
know,
better than last year's or the year before that?
I don't know. I mean, I feel it's a lot the same. You know, but for me that's okay because you know that's kind of the speed I'm at anyway. So
yeah, nuts and bolts, it's gonna remain the same game.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Anyway,
Better graphics.
yeah,
Yeah, because the card it changes.
the table
I-
opens up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you were talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna change this back to that. Anything else, guys? Should we move along to our second main phase?
Second main phase.
And in our second main phase, I'm just sort of discombobulated right now.
Absolutely understandable.
I can't even find the doc. There it is. First up, email feedback. We did receive some feedback this week. Let me get into that. Got a long email from Bruce.
I gotta check that when I get home.
Yeah. I'm going to save this one for next week because it just came in. Bruce, if you're listening to this, we'll talk about this next week. Because this episode is already getting long and we need to move along.
How is Captain Sisse your commander for
I
Thundercats? It's Thunder Cat. Sorry.
I did get we did get an email from Alex in Alabama. He says, "Hey there, MTGYou crew. I can't give you 5 stars on iTunes because I don't use anything Apple, but I wanted to pass along the love and let you guys know that you not only got me back into Magic after a short year break. I heard about the show through the Magic Minute on the Major Spoilers Podcast Network because I started playing again, and on the recommendation picked up Duels 2015. It was enough to get me and my girlfriend interested in the game. So after 5 years, I have finally got her into Magic, and I want to pass some of the credit along to you. Love what you guys do, and hope you continue for a very long time." So thanks, Alex from Alabama.
Awesome. Love the feedback.
I guess
Absolutely,
that's
yes.
Anyway, yeah, we hear stuff like that. That makes it makes our job all worth it. We really appreciate that. Let me see if I did miss. If you sent a piece of feedback and I missed it, other than like I said, Bruce, we'll get to yours next week. I will find it and we will cover it. But I think that was it for this week. Don't you think that you can remember?
Yeah.
Or do you remember anything else?
No, that's just
No,
about it.
Just the email.
Okay. And
Oh.
let's see.
Should give Mike a shout out for coming into the Draper store.
Yeah.
I'll do that after the iTunes feedback.
Okay, so in our iTunes feedback, there's our ongoing contest. You give us a 5-star review, you get entered into a pool of at the end of the year. We're going to be drawing for a playmat that has been offered by our level 3 regional coordinator Jeremy.
Yep.
Anyway, got 2 this week. Great MTG podcast. This is from Apple Gal. Listening. Don't you love that? Apple Gal. More girl listeners.
Apple.
If you're a woman listening to us, hey, especially send us some feedback. We'd like to know that you're out there because sometimes we had Tifa on last week and we wanted to know.
Had a great time with
Yeah,
her.
that was really
Yes.
that was really good.
We had her name wasn't Jenna. It started with a J though. She would talk to us on Facebook.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I remember. I can't
So send
remember
us
her
some
name right now,
feedback if you're a gal and you listen to us. I want to hear from you. So one of these days I want to talk about the places from around the globe that we have. We have quite a few people in England that listen to us. So if you're in England, also send us some feedback. And if you're a gal in England specifically, I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know why I said that. That was just
Okay.
Random.
Fair
random.
enough.
Excellent and informative cast. This is from Fatkin53. These guys have taught me a ton. The production value are fantastic, especially in the new studio. The hosts are fun and have good chemistry, and the segments are spectacular. When so many other MTG podcasts can't stay on topic or spend a few hours talking about their PTQ trips, these guys are a breath of strategic air. I hope this. Thanks for that feedback. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And anything else?
Well, and I had a shout out to Mike and his wife. They came in and said hi to me at the Draper store. I guess they just moved in the area. And we were just talking, and he's like, "Hey, you sound familiar.
Oh,
Are
yeah.
you from MTGYou?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah." And he's from
funny.
Nevada, and he just moved out here to Utah, I guess. And
You were
came
talking
in
about it
shop
and
said
found out.
hi.
Mhm.
I don't think he knew it was me until after like an hour of us talking, so it was pretty crazy. But and his brother in Arizona, which I did not catch his name, so
Yeah, brother in
Shout out.
Arizona. Shout out to you too. Okay, so one of the last things here is a poll of the every other week. We have Dirty Little Secret poll. I kind of like this. This has been a fun
yeah, we
poll
had a
so
lot
far.
already.
Yeah, I like this poll so far because and one thing I'm really enjoying is that we're getting a lot of the community getting in on these polls, and it helps us to find out more about our community and what people like.
Really strike into the dark spots where
Yeah, we're trying
we don't
to.
really get a lot of publicity in.
So this is interesting. Dirty Little Secret is what I'm calling this one. How do you approach Magic the Gathering regarding non-MTG players? First choice, I wear MTG like a badge of honor. I want everyone to know I'm a planeswalker. So far, they have 5 votes. So this is out of 22 so far. Second one, I'm not afraid to talk about MTG, but I don't go out of my way. 13. That's the majority.
That's what I voted.
Yeah, that's probably where I fit into. The third one is I'm hesitant to talk about MTG. People just don't usually understand. 3 votes.
Which
so
they normally don't.
yeah.
That's fine.
And 1, it's my dirty little secret. Only my MTG friends know the truth. And 1 vote. So if any of you are in that category, I don't want to skew the numbers, but hey, that one guy is pretty lonely down there by himself. So go and anyway, go and vote. That is the current poll.
Cool.
Cool.
End step.
Cool.
Sweet.
So yeah, let's move along to the end step.
End step.
If you want to contact us, you could send email to mtgyoupodcast@gmail.com. Interact with us on Facebook by going to facebook.com/mtgyu. Follow us on Twitter @theMTGYou. Catch us live on Thursday nights on twitch.tv/mtgyu. Subscribe and like us on YouTube. Find us on YouTube at youtube.com/theMTGYou. And we're also on Stitcher. So for the MTGYou podcast,
I'm Rich.
I'm Blades.
and we're missing
Demon.
And we're missing Peter too. And I'm James, and we pass the turn to you.
Isn't it me who normally does the weird voices and
I'm
making fun of
Damon.
people? I'm Damon. Oh, I totally took that to a dark. I almost took that to a dark place.
So that's it.
That's it.
I'll be in my trailer.
You should, because you need a glass of water or something, because that's a lot of card drops there.
I'm sorry, guys.
You had to get that off of your chest.
That was a lot of cards to go through.
That was a
EDH is
lot.
my close to my
That's your
heart.
thing. And that's fine with
I
me.
even skipped cards.
I know you did. We should just list all those cards and say, here are the cards. Here are all the cards.
Here's all 10,000 of them. Are we doing a fight club?
No, I need to
I
get to
gotta-
work early in the morning.
Yeah.
We have a lot going on right now with school being back in.
Anybody can hear.
I'm trying to. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I've got school at 6. I got to be up at 6.
My
in the
kids are back
morning.
in school.
I actually got to be up at
Yeah.
3:30.
And Damon's gone tonight. So hopefully we can return to a normal schedule next week.
Yeah. Well, I won't be here next week, but you guys can.
Oh, you have
Because
you have
I'm
the
going
con.
to be at the Comic-Con, the Salt Lake Comic-Con, so working, doing that shaboodle.
Have fun with that, because Friday morning we are doing, or I'm going to be down at the Grand Prix.
Mhm.
Have we gotten eye contact back from Mr. Shields?
Yeah, but we're not doing anything, so
Okay. I figured, we're
Yeah.
not really prepared for it, so
yeah. But
that's fine.
anyway, so that's it. Keep memorizing Rich.